Hello and welcome. This channel is called PolyInnovator after Innovation Polymath. Overall, I intend on becoming one. My name is Dustin and welcome to PolyInnovator. The purpose of this vlog is to create a personal brand for myself, and I want to tell you this to be honest with the audience because I feel like that's the best path to take. In particular, this video series called The DIY Degree is about following along with me on my journey with a self-constructed curriculum. Now, some of you might just be like, why don't you just go to MIT or Mizzou? The reason being is that the curriculum may be strong at these establishments, but overall, the very nature of a polymath is a jack-of-all-trades mentality. Meaning I would have to learn mastery over many subjects in which, in most traditional educations, confine you to a specialization. It is getting better nowadays with some school, I will say. This sounds great and all, but why haven't very many people done this already? There are some colleges with some interdisciplinary pathways, and the resources I intend to use have been around for a while. In fact, many people have actually created their own DIY degrees in the past. Many of them started with OpenCourseWare, which MIT introduced way back in the early 2000s. Nowadays, people go more towards massively open online courses. They're another tool that, for better or worse, has had a lot of publicity in the past 5 or so years. I remember using MOOCS way back in 2012, although not in a capacity that I intend to do so now. I wanted to ignite some discussion in the comments about people's opinions on MOOCS, so feel free to let me know what you think. Let's be honest about something. We all have a subject we're not the greatest at. Mine was math, and even now I'm not the strongest. However, at one point I needed to study for a CLEP test towards calculus. Mind you, I barely passed math in high school. However, through dedication, I pushed myself to deep dive into calc and learning about derivatives and integrals, how they correlate, and literally in a week I learned how to find a derivative. Here's to hoping it stuck, because one of those days of the week, I literally woke up around 8 o'clock in the morning and studied until about 10 or 11 p.m. It was like a 14-hour day. I did take 3 one-hour breaks throughout the day and ate and played some games to kind of relax the mind a bit. This way I could allow my brain to account for all the information. I honestly will say, I strongly considered recently to go to college or university. I was looking at this online program. It was either information technology or computer science. I pursued computer science pathway first, which is why I needed to get the calculus credit. However, it seemed more prudent towards my goals to aim more for information technology. It was mainly the case about affordability. That was a defining challenge for me, mainly because I am adamant about not taking loans, and I don't want to be in that sheer debt. The complicated financial situation led me to not be able to pay for school, partially due to a weird definition of dependent from the FAFSA defines upon completion. Unless you're 24, which I'll be next summer. My goal for my career is to pursue global innovation towards smart cities and sustainability, even more so towards social entrepreneurship. Some of you may be liking where this is going, others might be thinking, well, why should I care? Well, for one, this is something that with anyone with internet access can do, and you have to have the self-discipline to do it, but you can create your own education. This is honestly where higher education is gearing towards, that I wanted to just be one of the first ones to do it. Perhaps in the future, the people who want to be the initial wave of modular education degrees will look back upon me and others who came before. Ever since I was a child, I had dreamed to be a leader in the business world. When I was about 8 or 9, I asked my family for office business supplies for my birthday so I could be a businessman. As I got older, I would be asked, what do you want to do when you grow up? I ended up always saying CEO, #ambitious. As I got into my late teens, it only grew more audacious. This would be the words coming out of a 17-year-old's mouth. I want to be a CEO of an international company driven to innovate technology and ideology. At this point, I have come to the elevator pitch line. I will be a globally recognized innovation polymath driven to innovate technology and ideology. Which you can see on many of my social media profiles. Links are in the description. Subsiding this part of the video, it is necessary to talk about traditional education. This is not a video to tell you that you shouldn't go to school. There are many people out there who greatly benefit from the educational experience or networking. I still consider going myself if the opportunity arises. However, I just felt so freaking confined by the learning style of the classroom environment. Teachers were either super helpful or completely antagonistic, though not on purpose. I was always considerably bored in class, and I ended up entertaining myself by writing, reading stories, or talking to others. I was always a social butterfly, to be honest. I like to work in sprints, more like a project management sort of ideology, and I never knew this way back when. No one showed me that it was possible to manage my time, and how to do it. I took classes from personal finance to digital media, career building, and even business. None of them taught me the depth of how our lives operate. And I know that higher ed is different, but not all that much. For me, I think putting myself accountable towards my education fully is the best way to accept it. I have loved the idea of MOOCs since I really found them back in 2012, only completing a couple at the time, which seems to be the norm. Only about 5.5% of students actually finish towards a certificate. The very reason why most people actually start a course, besides learning the information itself. Since I learn in sprints, there will be times of barren non-education. And in this case, I think it will be a good thing because it'll give me a chance to rest, which is something I haven't always been the greatest with in my life. I've basically been working non-stop since I was a teenager. And on top of that, various methods of learning, such as the Feynman technique, the psychology of the interleaving method, and repetition will help me keep going strong. I have to say, I like forging my own path. I've always been rather anti-conformist by nature, not in a bad way, but for lack of better words, I would say entrepreneurial by nature. This is why I thought a DIY degree would be a good choice. It would be smart on top of it. On top of that, I would be able to combine courses from many major institutions, like Stanford, HEC Paris, University of Queensland, ASU, etc. What do I get out of it? Mainly just knowledge, but the synergy between all these different areas is the most important bit. I would not be able to get this level of pure practical knowledge in each section in a traditional degree. Maybe in one area, but even that is not confirmed until after the fact. I would be getting certificates from a vast number of sources, including micromasters from places like MIT. A micromaster, for those who don't know, are micro-credentials that could lead into credit for a master's degree, usually a semester's worth of work. This alone may get me a job in a field that I choose to, especially if I end up with a dozen or so in the end. No one has seemingly ever done more than maybe 2 micromasters as one person. The world needs more polymaths, leading in various fields, seeing the challenges in new ways, and innovating from within. I have spent the past 5 years or so pursuing self-development after high school, learning anything from interpersonal relations, reading micro-expressions and body language, to even learning how to sing. I did this by going to karaoke relentlessly for 2 years, 4 nights a week. Such amazing people there. Just so you know, I succeeded in that endeavor. In this series, I'll be making weekly vlogs on my progress, or lack thereof. And so if people were to keep coming back, this will motivate me not only to make more videos, but even to study more continuously. I am still relatively nervous on camera, and I know I'll get over it eventually. A DIY degree is when you create a curriculum based on what you need as a student. Some schools have a similar path, but most of the time they don't quite live up to par. However, when you do get outside official schooling, the options become more interesting. Not only do you get to choose how much time you put in, but exactly what courses you get to take. The subject matter is really up to you, and most people try to do something along the lines to stick closer to a traditional degree, such as computer science or an MBA. I want to synergize 3 fields: global sustainability development, innovation in project management, and social entrepreneurship. Each of these alone have deep pools of knowledge, let alone trying to combine them. However, with the career I have down in my heart, I cannot foresee myself doing anything less. Finally, I'll introduce the degree itself. Overall, it is a very vast list with over 420 courses. The numbers on the little side there are basically order of operations there. I have different semesters based on what project I want to work on and what area I want to be in, and so I hope that this will help guide me in different ways. I went all around the internet from edge to edge, if you will, combing through every major and even some minor education platforms, finding anything, especially free sources of knowledge. This was challenging to say the least, but I like to research like this, swaths of information. I created a list of over 400 courses, right? Most bachelors have around 40, though bear in mind some of these courses have only a couple hours long. Others are upwards of 30. Also bear in mind, a decent chunk of MOOCs are graduate level work, and it will take a lot of effort to accomplish this on that thought alone. I then separated them into semesters, which are about 40 courses each, ended up being 10 main ones and an 11th semester for the remainder courses. Organized them into subject matter with some overlap for interleaving purposes. They are as follows: business, sustainability, project management, IT and smart cities, global business. I also had many courses from Great Courses Plus website, so I made a semester just for that, along with some other courses that just correlated well with the topic matter. Math and marketing, which will be interesting. Programming, because before all this, I considered finally learning how to program or code, scripting websites. I dabbled a bit before deciding to pursue an education, but not before collecting a plethora of free or cheap educational resources. Seriously, I think I went to like every coding site out there. Semester number 9 is entrepreneurship, which you would think would, because of my deep love for the stuff, would be earlier on. I hope that this will motivate me to get through it all though. Design and master classes is semester 10, some courses from leaders of the industry. Lastly, the leftovers, which I am sure will keep growing. Sorry for all the issues with the audio. This video may end up being relatively long because of how much I needed to get through for the initial video. I am sure that the later ones will be shorter. I want to try to be regular with them, but for now just expect one a week. It is my aim that I can give anyone watching the hope that it's not too late for them to change their life. Although I'll probably keep this degree going for most of my life, I do have an end goal in mind in the 10th semester. Please note that each and every one of you is important, and no, I'm not just saying that towards a motivational feeling to the video, more in a logical sense. Every like, share, view can dramatically help me grow this channel. Not only that, perhaps maybe you are the one person who gives me an idea that's super important, or shares the video with just the right person. Please leave feedback in the comments if you have something to share. I always like to treat people as if they're the gatekeepers of my destiny. Maybe, who knows? Maybe you are.